Do you believe in freedom of choice?
Or should the right to choose be determined by the situation that you are in? Today's topic is what do the words freedom of choice really mean?
Great question.
Hmm.
Welcome to the Influencer's Journey. My name is Suzanne Hart.
And I'm Taria Hodge.
Each week, the question we set out to answer is how does the average professional or entrepreneur attract their divine client, build a loyal following, and their tribe?
And also, what skills must you learn? And most importantly, who are you required to become? Now, I'm so excited to sit down, Suzanne, and unpack this conversation. I'm excited to unpack all conversations, but this one especially. So we're talking today, or we're peeling back the layers on the onion of what do the words freedom of choice really mean? And I have to go ahead and set the stage for our super achievers who are joining us this morning. So, as usual, Susan and I have the most juiciest conversations behind the scenes. And one of the things that we were unpacking and talking about this week was the vaccination situation. So, I know all of our super achievers, you guys have seen a lot of things that are happening in the world, in the US, in Canada. I know Canada on your end, Suzanne, there's a big thing with the truckers coming across
Mm-hmm.
the border, made news headlines and everything. And it just pulled us into a wonderful conversation about having the freedom of choice and some of the things that go along with that choice. And so, one of the things that we unpacked and we talked about was where I started out with my perspective on the whole COVID situation and the whole vaccine situation when everything started. So I was that person when everything first came out. I was just like, oh heck nah, you're not putting anything in me. I don't know. Yes, there's a chip in there somewhere. This is a way for Big Brother to do his thing. I read the book 1984 years ago, and they laid it out. And this is, the rollout of,
Yeah.
of the whole thing. And that was my mindset at the beginning. But one of the things that occurred for me as we went on in time, and I started to take a look at some of the things that I wanted to do. Like a big thing for me was travel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I wanted to be able to travel and do certain things. And so I made the decision to go ahead and get vaccinated. Now, I did not make a decision solely based on just wanting to have, the freedom to travel. There was a lot of things as I started to research and talk with friends, talk with doctors. I realized that I started to become more educated around the situation. And the thing for me that I realized in the beginning, I was just running solely on emotion and
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of information to go on to make a sound decision. And I imagine, Suzanne, that that's the case. That has been the case with a lot of people out there. But one of the things that I also noticed, it became a divide. So once I got vaccinated and I started to share with some of my friends, and family members that I was vaccinated, then I realized that, there was this divide. It became an us and them situation. And the conversations to talk about the issue of COVID, vaccines, the mask mandate, those conversations got difficult. And I'm, not proud to say, but there are some friends that this topic is off limits. Like we
Mm-hmm.
cannot discuss it. Some people I can, others I can't. And we've made the decision to keep it off the table. So I'm super excited to just hear not only from you today, but also from our super achievers out there on their take on the lovely question that we've just asked.
I think the question is really good for a few reasons. Number one for me is is we always have these two camps. And I think the real issue that we're looking at is not whether you choose or not to choose to get vaccinated. However, how are you in that choice? And do we really have the right to choose? Because it's such a bigger question. And we're looking at it from a very narrow perspective in terms of, I want to be vaccinated. I've chosen to be vaccinated. I haven't chosen to be vaccinated. However, when you pull back and you look at it from a bigger perspective, we're talking about our right to make a choice in terms of what happens to our bodies, what we do with our bodies. And it's a complicated issue because my right to choose may or may not impact other people.
Yeah.
And so, for me, what's really curious about this is it's not a simple answer. And I think sometimes we relate to it as a right, wrong, simple answer. However, there's bigger issues at play. There's bigger precedents possibly at play. And I think we need to grapple with it a little bit more. And so for me, I keep reminding myself that, Suzanne, it's not about right or wrong. It's not about did you get vaccinated or didn't you? It's about respectfully being curious about the places that people stand in the middle of this decision and why. And I mean, we're going to dive into that a little bit more. However, I think that for me is the challenge, is can I remain open, objective, and ready to learn as I go through this journey. So one of the things I want to make really clear is this is not pro-vaccine or against that. Or against those people who haven't. It's neither one of those conversations. It's about, as an influencer and as a leader, can you hold the space for difference? Can you hold the space for different opinions?
Yeah.
And can you open a space for dialogue? Because when dialogues of different opinions happen, people are better able to move and hold a perspective. And so for me, this became really interesting because if you're a leader of a company, you're going to face this at one point. If you're a leader of a family, you're going to face this at one point. You're going to face it with your peers, your friends. And so it just heightens it because it's such an emotionally charged topic. However, we face this in different ways all the time.
Yeah.
So get ready.
Yeah, so I'm super excited, and I love that you said that you started out as leaders. We're all going to be faced, with this at some point, and it's about being able to just lay the foundation to have great discussions. And then one of the things that I always keep in mind, or try my best to keep in mind, we don't always have to agree. And I think that that's the thing a lot of times that we miss. We don't always have to agree. We don't always have to, have the same viewpoint, but can we come to the table and have great dialogue, great discussions, and still be respectful of the spaces that, that we hold. So
I can't wait to jump into this topic. I was noodling on it all morning as I've been up, and